Hey, I'm Matt Shelley. I'm here with another edition of Chat with Matt. This week we don't have a special guest. What I wanted to do is just kind of talk a little bit about the big game happening this Friday in Wedowee. Woodland's going to visit Randolph County for a mid-season region play break, but it's not really a break for either one of these teams because it's going to be a heck of a game. I've struggled to kind of figure out who I think is going to win this game this year. Both of these teams have been playing excellent early in the season, so it's really tough to determine which of them is going to come out on top this Friday. But I wanted to kind of go piece by piece through this and kind of let's figure this out. First of all, Randolph County and Woodland are near identical when it comes to points given up and points scored this season. Randolph County in 4 games has scored 139 points. Woodland has scored 138. Both the defenses are pretty close too, with Randolph County giving up 68 points so far and Woodland giving up only 65 points so far. So it's kind of a push as far as points given and points earned. Let's talk a little bit about these two teams and their offensive capabilities. Starting with Randolph County, I feel like Randolph County's got a slight edge in the offensive category. They've got a little bit more depth than Woodland has. Of course, Woodland has Michael Howard and Colby Spears coming out of the backfield. Those are both huge threats. I think Randolph County's got just a little bit more juice with Rico Nelson and Colton Lovern and Tay Childs. All 3 of those can carry the ball and carry the load for that team whenever the need arises. As far as quarterbacks go, I think the stats kind of prove that Ty Sparks is a little bit more experienced, a little bit more comfortable back there in the pocket. He's got a strong arm on him. He leads the county in passing yards so far this season. That's not to say John West Adcock at Woodland is a slouch either. He's a competent quarterback. He's really good, and he also gives Woodland a little bit of a dual threat, being able to run the ball a lot coming out of the backfield. At the wide receiver position, this absolutely the edge goes to Randolph County between Willis Knight and Brad Benefield and Dante Barrett. Randolph County is absolutely stacked at the wideout position. I feel like Woodland's been struggling a little bit to find a real go-to guy that they've had in the past, although Tyler Rollins has been stepping up and is doing an excellent job with that. Now, to me, the line is where it's going to make the most difference this week. Woodland, to me, has the more experienced line. They've got the size. Randolph County's got a good line, but they don't have the size that Woodland does, and I think that's going to play a factor. But how much of a factor, it's kind of hard to tell. On the defensive side, I feel like Woodland's got a little bit of an edge. After all, they did hold Fultondale to only 24 points, and Fultondale was ranked number 1 in 2A a couple of weeks ago. They've got a good run stop ability, great defensive line. A lot of the same guys that play on the O-line. Their linebackers are good. The only thing that gives me pause about Woodland's defense is the secondary. These guys are still pretty much untested for the most part, and I can guarantee you that Randolph County's receivers are going to test that Woodland secondary early and often in that game. Randolph County's solid all around on defense. They don't give up a lot of passing yards. They've given up some rushing yards, particularly to Reeltown with 183, and even Isabella racked up 220 yards rushing on him. But remember, Isabella was running that strange Notre Dame box offense that's so hard to defend. One of the big points that's going to come into play, I believe, is special teams. Now, this is an area where I'm going to give Woodland a little bit of an edge for a couple of reasons. I think Randolph County was exposed a little bit last week against Reeltown. On the kicking game, the coverage is going to have to come along a little bit better against Woodland, and Woodland actually shined last week against Ohatchee in the kicking game. I believe Kip Sims ran a kickoff back for a touchdown. That said, I feel like Randolph County's got a more reliable place kicker in Alex Sanchez, who's been almost perfect this season. I think he may have missed one kick or one extra point so far. I think I'll give Randolph County the edge there in the kicking game, just on the place kicker. But as far as coverage and all-around play on the special teams, Woodland's is going to be tough to compete with. So what's the analysis? Who do I think is going to win between the Woodland Bobcats and the Randolph County Tigers? Well, depends on how both teams play. And I hate to give a cop-out answer like that, but that's the truth. I think it's going to come down to a few different things. With both the teams excelling on offense and defense, I think the game is really going to come down to the line of scrimmage. If Woodland's defense comes in and disrupts the Randolph County line, doesn't give Ty Sparks enough time to sit back there and make his passes, Randolph County could be in some trouble. Randolph County is going to have to establish a running game to make Woodland respect them. If Woodland starts stacking the box, Ty Sparks is going to tear them apart in the secondary. So I think for Randolph County to be successful, they're going to have to establish a running game first and foremost, and that way that'll open up the passing game, and there's no way Woodland can defend both of those, in my opinion. However, since Woodland's got a little bit more depth, a little bit more power in the defensive line, that's going to be tough. I think Woodland's going to give Randolph County a run for the money on the line of scrimmage, and depending on how those two units play, I think that's going to make a big difference in the game. Next thing is obviously the special teams. Special teams really hurt Randolph County last week, and it really helped Woodland last week. Granted, Reeltown and Ohatchee are two completely separate teams, but you know, that's what we have to go on. The team that makes the least mistakes in the special teams is probably going to be the one to come out on top. The next one is obviously turnovers. Turnovers are going to be key in this game. If Woodland can stay on the positive end of the turnover margin, I think the game's got to go Woodland's way. Really, it's going to be about the way the Lions play mistake-free ball. Whoever plays the cleanest game and whoever controls the line of scrimmage is going to come out on top in that one. Now, whether it's the Tigers or the Bobcats, can't really give you a good answer. You're going to have to tune in Friday night or be in Wedowee. Anyway, that's it for another edition of Chat with Matt. We'll be back next week with another coach, another guest, so you won't just have to listen to me blabber on in front of a camera. Anyway, see you next week.